Things are starting to feel so chaotic lately when I try to record. Like, I just feel like my head's gonna explode because basically I live on the 30th floor, which is very high up. I know, hashtag condo living in the city. And I just discovered I'm not an audio engineer. This may not be correct. I haven't researched this for more than 5 seconds, but there's this sound coming from my microphone that's like, and it's never happened before until I moved here. And so I actually think it has something to do with being this high up in the air, which is so weird that has to fuck with my microphone. But anyway, welcome to the show. Let's get into it. But if you can hear it, I'm sorry, please ignore it. I'm going to do my best to edit it out. I was just talking to my roommate, and I have started posting on not only my Human to Human Pod Instagram and TikTok like usual, but I've actually started posting on my quote unquote personal account, Jessica J. McDonald. I have fucked myself over with Instagram accounts and basically just like kept making new Instagram accounts for like my more creative stuff and then kept ditching old accounts. And so I wish I had an account that has like my photos from when I first got Instagram, but that bitch is dead. She's still alive and you can like look at the photos, but like I don't use that OG account, but I do have like a semi OG account that's like a personal more ish account, and I've started using it again under Jessica J. McDonald and I love it. And so I'm posting a lot of photo dumps. I'm posting more of like my memories that I want to look back on. All of that is going to be on Jessica J. McDonald. Human to Human is always like my podcast stuff, my TMI stuff, my life lessons. And then I did do like a May recap photo dump. And I was just talking to my roommate and she was like, I went on Instagram and I'm like, oh, look at your face. Look at this photo dump. And I was like, I'm doing a lot of photo dumping lately. She's like, it is a lot of photo dumps. I'm like, I'm just taking a lot of dumps. What can I say? And she's like, I knew you were waiting for that moment to make that joke. And I was like, speaking of dumps, I'm going to go record a podcast episode. Deuces. So this is the first time I'm actually recording with my roomie home, but we're pretty good at like letting each other do each other's creative things. We both have very creative jobs. So if we hear the other person talking to themselves, it's not out of the norm around here. But I'm really happy to be back and recording. Thank you for listening. I am going to kick it off, obviously, with a TMI story. So lots has been going on in May in general. First of all, happy June. That's crazy that we're literally at June. And I just went to my boyfriend's sister's wedding, which is insane. It is the closest person to me that I've ever gone to as an adult to their wedding. I feel like going to weddings as an adult is such a different experience than obviously when you go as a kid. Like now I'm actually like awake and alert and alive enough to like take in what's going on. And there's this like whole other layer of like people asking about me getting married, which we'll get into that. We'll get into that. That's actually like the precipice. That's like the takeaway of this episode is actually like that conversation. But let's start off with my struggles during this wedding. I had a really good time. It was a lot of people. It was quite chaotic, but I overall had a really great time and I'm just like so happy with how it went. I know my boyfriend's so happy with how it went. I didn't realize how big of a role my boyfriend was going to be, which like makes sense. But like, again, I haven't gone to a lot of weddings as an adult. This is like my second one and my first one was a month ago. But being the brother of the bride, like, everyone wants to talk to the bride and groom, but they can't because the bride and groom are so busy. So the next best thing is obviously going to be a sibling. So he was just like busy all night long, living his life. And there was a ceremony during the day where we wore more of like a classic, I kept saying like a white outfit, but it wasn't the color white. People would be like, you're wearing white? And I'm like, no, I'm not wearing white. I'm wearing like a white person outfit. So I had more of like a white person outfit for the church ceremony. And then for the actual reception, we all wore Indian attire because his whole family's Indian. And so I wore a lehenga. So at the ceremony, I wore my dress that I actually wore a month ago to my family's wedding in Calgary. Because guess what? Lizzie McGuire is an outfit repeater. And one of you that always listens to all the episodes, hi, love you, literally responded to something I posted on my story and was like, why wouldn't you wear something twice? Guys wear something twice all the time. I'm like, I went to all this effort to find it, to pay for it. Why would I just wear a dress once that I love so much? And my mom and I were laughing because literally the only person her and my dad, but my mom is like the only person who would remember, who was at both events, who would have seen me wear the dress twice. And my mom's like, I don't give a fuck. She's like, your father definitely doesn't even remember. And so the fact that like we put pressure on people to never repeat an outfit is so stupid to me, because I'm like, the only thing seeing it twice is social media. And it's fake. Like, social media is like a glimpse of someone's actual life. And I'm like, none of you should care that I wore the same dress to an event last month versus an event this month. And it's like summery, it's spring, it's fun. So I wore that like a white person style dress. It wasn't white, to the ceremony. And then at the reception, we wore lehengas. It was so fun. Like, leading up to it, I was a bit nervous because I've bought my own lehenga before and worn it to an Indian event with my boyfriend and his friends. And I just like didn't feel confident in that lehenga that I was wearing a couple years ago. And so I was like afraid I wasn't going to feel good and confident in my outfit at his sister's wedding. And I'm like, this is such a big deal. Like, I did not realize how many people I would also know at this wedding. Like, I have met quite a few of his family members leading up to the wedding. I met more of his family members. So walking in, I like knew so many people, but I was nervous that I wouldn't feel confident in my lehenga because it's not something I wear regularly, obviously. So it's like me and one of my boyfriend's friends were like, you know, you're not going to feel hot in a lehenga. You know, it's not your typical attire. But I felt beautiful. I actually felt so pretty. People kept complimenting me on the color. I didn't buy it. It was literally the bride's dress. My mom was like, what a flex. Everyone's complimenting you on your lehenga and you're like, it's the bride's. But to me, I'm like, it's my boyfriend's sister's. Like, yeah, like we're tight. Like, she'd let me borrow her lehenga. But it is a big deal when you're at their wedding and you're like, oh yeah, like literally the bride, I'm wearing one of her dresses. Like, shout out, she's the best. But it was hot. There was over 300 people at this wedding, which is insane. When I walked into the room, I was like, whoa, there's so many people here. Felt so good about how I looked, how I felt, all that. And so the thing with the lehenga is that it's long enough that you couldn't see my feet. So I was like, okay, well, why am I gonna like kill my feet all night by wearing heels, like up until we like start dancing / do our choreographed dance that me and my boyfriend and his friends all literally spent weeks practicing. I'm like, not gonna wear my heels, I'll just wear my sneakers. Big mistake. Huge mistake, because it made me so much more hot to have sneakers and socks all wrapped around my feet and then have like the shawl that comes like with the lehenga on top of me that kept like, I didn't actually tuck it in properly, so it kept like falling off and like people were stepping on it. And I had this big tote bag that I brought with me to the table because I had my OG like white person dress that I wore to the ceremony. I had that dress in my tote bag because I was like, once it gets to the like late night vibes, I want to be able to bust a freaking move. Like, I need to be able to just like break it down. And that's when I needed my sneakers. So I had my dress in there. I was on my period. We won't even get into that, but like that was a situation. So I just had a lot of stuff in my tote bag. But when I went to sit down at the table, there's obviously a big tablecloth and there's like, it's pretty crowded. And so I was just getting so overwhelmed and there was just so many things near me and it was just like too much things that I was like reaching for / my lehenga was getting caught and it was just like super, super loud in the venue. And like precursor to this, I am a sensory sensitive bitch. I already struggle with a lot of like loud music and sounds and lights, and when clothes are not comfortable on me, I really, really struggle with that. And so I definitely like just had a moment of like, and so I went to the bathroom and I'm like, I need to take my shoes off and I need to just put my heels on and I need to take the shawl off. So I did. I ended up like taking the shawl off, and Josh's friend came by my table at one point and was like, oh my God, do you want me to put this back on you? I was like, no. Like, the two other girls who were in the dance, they wore their shawls, they wore their everything for the whole like dance number we did. I'm like, shout out to you guys, because mine was getting in the way and I just like couldn't. I felt so much better with my heels on, but oh my God, I had this moment of like such overwhelm in my body that I had to just like collect myself. And also, bless up that my parents came to this wedding. It was kind of a last minute decision. That was the first time my parents have met my boyfriend's parents. It was a very big deal. We were all a little nervous, you could tell, but everything went well. It was so chaotic. It's like the most chaotic way to meet, but also in a good, casual, low pressure way. I was just so relieved that my mom was there, because my boyfriend is usually my safe person, but he was the life of the freaking party. I posted on my Instagram and I said the life of the party, and it was photos of me and him. And I'm like, wait, I hope people don't think I'm being cocky. I meant him. He was the life of the party. I am like you're going to be famous and be a performer one day because you can just captivate a room. And my roommate and I recently were talking when I was like debriefing her on the whole night, and she was like, it's such a good thing, not all the time, but once in a while, to see your partner just like be the man, like be in their element and just like have so much swagger, and it's like attractive. And I was like, oh my God. And then it was just like so great because it was like super obvious that I was his girlfriend, because like this is an Indian wedding. So the few white folks over here stand out like a sore thumb. So I'm like so glad I was obviously there. So glad my parents were there though, because I could go to my mom and be like, Mom, literally when I was having my like hot flash in the bathroom, for some reason, I just had this instinct of like, my mom could be in this bathroom right now. Like, this is a moment that my mom would have gone pee. And I literally got out of the stall, looked, saw someone I didn't know at the sink. And I was like, okay, awkward, not my mom. Went back in, and because I basically couldn't get my skirt untied, I was just losing my shit. So whatever, it's fine. I got my life together. But throughout the night, the fact that I could go to my mom and just like have my safe person. And then at one point, you could tell the night was taking a turn, and it was like time for me to take my langa off so I could like bust a move on the dance floor. We'd already done our choreographed dance. It went so well. We literally had so much fun. We were like, how did that go by so freaking fast? And then, we'd had dessert. We'd done all of that. And I'm like, Mom, it's time. I need your help. And she's like, say fucking less. And we go to the bathroom, and she's a boss ass bitch. She just helped me get out of my langa, and she went and she put it in the car because I was going to go back to the venue the next day and get the car so my parents could drink an Uber home, all the vibes. And I wore my classic Jess dress that I'm wearing now for kind of the third time, even though I've worn it twice in the state. It feels like the third event that I've worn this dress at. And thank God I actually got photos of me in the langa though, because all the photo booth photos are me like in this dress. And I think like people were like pretty thrown off by the fact that I was just like strutting around in sneakers wearing this like kind of tight dress. And I was just like, no, like I need to dance. And so as soon as my parents left, they left like before midnight, and I was just like, let's go. It was such like I'm gonna say it was such a sausage fest at one point, but not even that. That's not what I was gonna say. There was just so much testosterone around us, between the table I was sitting at, which was my boyfriend and his two cousins, and the three of them are like brothers. They're from London. They're so fun. And then all my boyfriend's boys, like all of them, like all of Josh's friends are like, just there's 7 of them, and they're such homies. They've been friends since high school. Like it was so fun having them there. And on the dance floor, the amount of times these guys would just get into a circle and just like jump around and just be maniacs. There was just like so much testosterone in the room. At one point though, it was like me and my parents trying to dance on the dance floor, and I'm like, yeah, like we're obviously on the outs. Like we can't try to I can do it, but I'm not gonna like, no, my parents were like, what is happening? So anyway, once my parents left, it was like party time with the boys. And so we were just like having some drinks, dancing it out. I do wish I drank more water before I went to bed, but I like was fucking cruising, high energy levels all throughout the night. At one point, Josh just started crashing. He had the most crazy, not only the most crazy day, but the most crazy 2 weeks leading up to this. And it has now been a week since the wedding, and he is still MIA in my life. He is taking his family all around. He's having the best time. We had the best time. It was so much fun. But let's just normalize needing to recover. Oh my God, it's Friday. The wedding was on Saturday, last Saturday. I am still recovering energy-wise. Holy moly. And then all the buildup, like we were so nervous, but like my poos, oh my God, I just like need them to go back to normal. I'm in pain. I need to center myself. I'm going to yoga right after this. Don't worry. But like, yeah, like I applaud people who have a wedding and who go above and beyond and have a big wedding. Because we've been talking about this for literally a year, like seriously talking about it for a year, because she's been engaged for a year. But like the prep, once it gets closer, is bananas. And I just had moments of like when it was done and Sunday came, I was like, what now? What do we do? What do we think about? What do we talk about? this is crazy. It's over. And I have been feeling a lot of mixed emotions just about weddings in general, especially because this one has been, in the works for so long and it's been like consuming so much of our lives for so long. And then not only that, but like I'm at the stage where I've been in a relationship for 3 years, which is crazy. And so people are asking me, like, when are you guys going to move in together? And like, when do you think you're going to get married? If you're listening to this right now and you're like, well, Jess, when do you think? I don't know. I don't know. I've had moments where I'm like, Josh, I'm never getting married. But like, I do want to get married. It's just the wedding. The wedding is like so much. And I don't have social anxiety. I would never say that I have social anxiety, but it's the fact that I can only handle so much. Like I truly only have the capacity for so much social time. My body will physically just like shut down and I'll be in a bad mood and I don't want that. And my poor boyfriend and my amazing mother both put up with me so wonderfully. And it's a lot. And so I also just am now comparing it to when you're about to graduate school, you're finishing university, you're finishing high school, you're finishing your master's, you're finishing a big milestone. Everyone's like, so what's next? So what's next? So like, when are you going to get married? Or like, what are you going to do with your life? And so I have reached that next stage where it's like my career is kind of stable at this point and I've moved out of my parents' house and I've been in a relationship for a couple years. So the next thing is people actually saying, when are you going to get married? And I'm like, not right now, not next year. And after that, I don't fucking know. That's the thing. You don't know till you're in it. And my boyfriend's sister, like was so invested in the planning, and that's how you know that she was like, this is her time, she's ready. But you don't know when you're gonna be ready. And so I think it's so crazy when people are like, so when are you gonna do it? I'm like, do you want me to say when I'm 27? Like, do you want me to give you some arbitrary age or some like stupid amount of years that actually mean nothing? Because I can't plan my life. And I think people just want to be able to plan their life, but that would take all the fun out of it, you know? And I forget that I don't know is a full answer. I forget that I don't need to have every answer to any question that everybody asks me about the course of my life and the timeline of how it's going to unfold. Okay? I don't need to know, and I don't know is like an appropriate answer. I think it's fun to think about these things. I think it's fun to dream up about like, oh my God, when will my boyfriend and I live together? Or like, when will we get married? Okay, but also people act like I have the final say. If we're talking societally, historically, heterosexually, the man proposes. So I'm like, even if, and I'm not saying this, but even if I was like, I want to get married next summer, or I want to get engaged next, bitch, it's not up to me. And I kind of like that because that's so much pressure. We put so much pressure on people. We put so much pressure on so many things. We put so much pressure on timelines of our lives that takes the fun out of it. And I don't want to know. And I won't know until I'm ready. I don't want to know right now. And I also know that I'm not going to know until you just know. Like, does that even make sense? Like when I was ready to move out, I knew it felt right in my body. There'd been a lot of prep and a lot of maybe and a lot of what if and a lot of thinking and planning that went into it. And then when the moment came, when it was like, there's a place that we could sign a lease for, my roommate and I were like, fuck yeah, I'm ready. Like this is the moment. Financially, I knew I was ready, emotionally, physically, and I was ready to take the leap. You're never fully 100% ready, but it's like, you know, when you're in the place where it's time. I know I'm not in the place where it's time to get married. If I thought I was even getting close, I would have moved in with my boyfriend. But we were like, nah, bro, let's live our own lives. I also think it's so dependent on your religious beliefs, on your familial beliefs, on all of that. And so it's like, for me, I feel like I am just starting to discover my identity no longer being in my family unit. And that's what I like. That's what I want. Everyone's different. Some people want to go from their family unit into their marriage, and that's what works for you, and that's what is aligned with your beliefs. And in my personal life, feel like I'm just starting to kind of my only role in life, my immediate family in life is no longer just my mom, my dad, and my brother. I am starting to be an independent person. I'm starting to support myself food-wise, financially-wise, just all those things in my daily life. I am starting to be my own independent person. And so I'm not ready to like jump into a partnership in that capacity. I'm 100% in a partnership. Like the fuck? Like, he's my man. But I'm not like, okay, I want to do every bit of life with you yet. And just to know that and accept that is okay. And everyone just wants to talk about this stuff, I think, just because it's entertaining and it gives us something to think about and look forward to. But we made it all up. I just want to make that clear. We made it all up. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm so excited to get engaged one day. I'm so excited to think about what I want to do for my wedding. But like, everyone is on their own timeline. And I have friends who 100% would not get engaged until they live with their partner. I have friends who don't want to move in with their partner till they're married. I have friends who don't want to move in with their partner until they're engaged. It's like all of us have different needs and different wishes. And so it's like, just like respect people, I think. And like, if you're an older generation, especially, like, just, you don't need to ask those questions. There's a lot more entertaining questions you could ask other than like, when are you going to get engaged? Or like, what are you doing with your life? Or like, when are you going to get a stable job? So like, take a deep breath. It's okay. We don't need to know what we're doing past next Tuesday. Like, truly, this weekend, I know what I'm doing. Next weekend, I have a loose idea. In 3 months, I have no idea. And I just love that even with this apartment. My roommate and I have a 1-year lease. And we just talked the other day and we were like, we have no idea what our life is going to be like in a year. We have no idea how much our rent is going to increase after our lease is up. And we don't know what we're going to want. And so we're going to live right now. We're going to enjoy this place while we have it. And we're not going to already try to decide what we're going to do once our lease is up. Because our lease isn't up yet. And it was even hard when I moved to Vancouver. I lived there for 3 months and my mom was really scared that I would not come back. And because she actually put that pressure on me, on like, oh, I hope you don't fall in love with someone or I hope you don't fall in love with the city and never come back. It like made me go into it feeling like she didn't make me do anything, but I internalized this as like, oh, I'm going to want to live here for a long time. I need to figure that out within the first 3 months. And that's way too much pressure to put on yourself. The fuck? Like, chill out. You just need to go with the flow and just live in right now and trust that you will know what you need to know when you need to know it. Mic drop. Like, that's it. That's the end of the episode. You will know what you need to know when you need to know it. And I was going to say, let God take care of the rest, which, like, personally, I didn't grow up religious. So my relationship with the word God and the whole being of God is so interesting. But like, let the universe take the rest of the wings way. Whatever your belief is, hand it over because you don't have all the control in the world and you're not supposed to. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this little like wedding recap. Please subscribe if you enjoy so you don't miss when I release new episodes on Mondays. Make sure you follow me at HumanTumanPod on Instagram and TikTok. And also if you want to keep up with like my personal life, Jessica J. McDonald, I guess. And if you have a story that has something to do with a little bit too much information, please submit it. I want to tell it on the podcast because I'm always just telling my own TMI stories at the beginning. And if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, please submit it with the link in the show notes. I would love to answer and talk about things that you want me to talk about. So I'll talk to you soon. Bye.